So what we're going to talk about now is using View Designer. View Designer is actually another HMI package that's built into Studio 5000 if you're using the 3.1 version or higher. To start a new View Designer project, you would go into Studio 5000 and then select View. At that point, you would have a choice of a variety of panel views to work with. We're going to go ahead and work with the 5110 7-inch panel view. So once the project comes up, it'll pop up with a project properties box over the IDE for the HMI development environment. And you'll go ahead and fill out items such as the controller reference name, and then you'll also select the project file or the PLC program that your HMI is going to connect with. And in this case, we're going to be pulling up the INDT212 demo that we had looked at in one of the previous presentations. And to complete the project properties, we'll go ahead and select the actual PLC that we're going to be communicating with on the network. You'll have to make sure that RSLinx is running, of course. And now we have our project property set up. We've got a controller reference name. We have it associated with an actual PLC program file and a path to the PLC that we're going to communicate with. So at this point, I can start populating my form with user interface elements. The layout of Designer is very similar to a Visual Studio type of environment, such as Visual Basic. I can go over to the toolbox and look for items that I can drop onto my form. I just wanted to jump back to the program that we're going to be communicating with just to point out a few things. We do have a start button, and we have two tags that I want to associate with my HMI. This is just a simple blinking light program. Once the start tag is true, then both the IND1 and IND2 lights will be blinking, but so will tank wash 1 and tank wash 2. Tank wash 1 and tank wash 2 are going to be elements that I'm going to connect with my HMI. So I'm dropping a push button on my form. It will come in on a default size. I could resize that later. And I'm going to drop a couple of pilot lights out there. The default color for the pilot light in this case is red. That's alright, I can change its color. But when I drop the second one out there, I'll make it a green light. And as I was talking earlier, this is a very similar interface to a Visual Studio type interface. I have properties that I can do things like change the color, which is what I did here. I changed the fill color to some arbitrary green. So at this point I want to tie my HMI elements to my tags that are in my program. Starting with the button, I'm going to tie a button event to my tags, and I have a series of events I can choose from. I picked button behavior, and now I'm going to go ahead and pick the specific button behavior that I want to connect to. So what I'm going to go ahead and choose is set the tag to 1 on press and 0 on release. So it's all about the tags. And one of the things I did is to go into program's main program, and I can actually see the various tags that are defined. And there's my start button, which is a Boolean, and that'll be the tag I connect to. So once I've defined the tag I've connected to, I essentially have my properties for the buttons all set. Now I'm ready to go ahead and set up my pilot lights to reflect the alternating flashing that's going on in the program. So with input devices, they're going to trigger off of events, but for output devices on my HMI, I'm going to be looking at something called animations. And so I select the animation tab for my green pilot light. So what I'm interested in triggering off of are state changes that occur in my program, and so I'm going to go ahead and select a state table. When I do that, I'll get this dialog box that pops up. I'll want to set the number of states. In this case, I set it to 2. Although in this dialog it shows everything highlighted, the only thing I really want to highlight is just light on. And similar to the button, I need to find the tag that I want to trigger off of. In this case, it'll be tank wash 2. I'm going to use tank wash 1 for the red light. And the ideally what will happen is the lights will turn on when the tag is equal to 1 in the program, and turn off when the tag is equal to 0 in the program. So after doing that, I still have to actually indicate when the light is really on, and I want the light to come on at state 1, which is where the tag is at equal to 1. I could actually flip that logic. I don't want to do that, but I could. So now I'm ready to test out my HMI. I can emulate the project since I'm not actually going to download it to a panel, but I select the button indicated by the red arrow, and as soon as I do that, it will start to build the application. So after it builds the application, it will actually go through the process of loading it into a panel emulator to give you the same look and feel as the panel that you actually selected the project for. So at this point it's up and running, and now I'm ready to test with my program. At this point I'm actually running my application, and you can see as I hold the button down, the code is running off to the left and my lights are blinking to the right.